The 2026 era of Formula One didn't just arrive, it has already claimed its first victim. As the sun set on the final day of pre-season testing in Bahrain, the timing screens told a story of dominance, but the internal telemetry told a story of a total collapse. While the world watched the headline lap times, one historic titan was hemorrhaging data in a reliability crisis that could end their season before the ship even reaches Melbourne. Today, we decode the numbers the teams are desperate to hide. We aren't just looking at who's fast, we're looking at who is lying. Charles Leclerc just sent a message to the entire grid. Friday afternoon, track temperature dropping, final hours of pre-season testing, and Leclerc unleashes a 1:31.992, the fastest lap of the entire Bahrain test. But here's what separates this from a typical glory run. Ferrari didn't sacrifice anything to get it. Team principal Fred Vasseur confirmed they hit every single mileage target. 324 laps completed, full race simulations run, tyre degradation data collected, and still they found time to go fastest. The SF26 isn't just quick over one lap. The long-run pace suggests Ferrari has solved the tyre management issues that cost them the 2025 championship. But Ferrari isn't the team that completed the most laps. That honor belongs to Mercedes, who racked up an astonishing 432 laps, more than anyone. And yet, there's a problem buried in that number that could derail their entire season. We'll get to that in 60 seconds. First, the rookie who outworked every world champion on the grid. Forget the veterans. The most productive driver in Bahrain wasn't Verstappen, wasn't Hamilton, wasn't Leclerc. It was a 19-year-old in his first pre-season test. Arvid Lindblad, Racing Bulls. 165 laps on Friday alone. Let that sink in. A rookie in a midfield car completed more laps in a single day than some teams managed in the entire test. Why would Racing Bulls, a team that typically operates in the shadow of Red Bull, push a first-year driver harder than anyone else in Bahrain? The answer is in their total 407 laps across the test. Second only to Mercedes. 0 major failures. 0 red flags caused. When teammate Liam Lawson was asked why Racing Bulls will be in Melbourne, he gave the most ominous answer possible. It's hard to know. Translation: they know exactly where they are. They just don't want to tell anyone. The midfield should be nervous. Very nervous. But while Racing Bulls was building confidence, one of the sport's biggest spenders was falling apart. Literally, 6 laps. That's all they could manage on the final day. And the reason why reveals a fundamental flaw in the 2026 regulations that could affect multiple teams. Aston Martin is in crisis. There's no diplomatic way to say this. The Air 26 is currently undrivable, and they're running out of time to fix it. Here are the brutal numbers. 128 laps total. That's 304 fewer than Mercedes, nearly 3 times less than Ferrari. Their fastest time, 1:35 and 94 seconds, 4 full seconds off Leclerc's pace. And on Friday, the most critical day of testing, Lance Stroll completed just 6 laps before the car was wheeled back into the garage. The culprit, a battery-related issue confirmed by Honda. This isn't a minor calibration problem. This is the heart of the new hybrid system failing under load. Fernando Alonso was stranded on track Thursday. The team spent hours diagnosing instead of driving, and when they did run, the data showed fundamental instability in the power delivery. 4 seconds, think about what that means in Formula One terms. That's not a gap you close with setup changes. That's a gap that suggests the car concept itself may be flawed. But here's what's strange. Red Bull, running the same Honda power unit, had none of these problems. So either Aston Martin's integration is broken, or Honda gave them different components. We'll explore that in a moment. First, where is the reigning champion hiding? Max Verstappen finished testing with a 1:33.109 point. On paper, that's 1.1 seconds slower than Leclerc. That's behind Mercedes, behind McLaren, behind Racing Bulls. So is Red Bull in trouble? Not even close. Here's what the timing screens don't tell you. After struggling with car problems in the first test, Red Bull made a strategic decision: stop chasing lap times. Focus entirely on reliability and race pace. 329 laps completed, 0 breakdowns. 4 race simulations with consistent degradation data. Rookie Ishak Hadjar, preparing for his Melbourne debut, declared himself as ready as I can be. That's not the language of a team in crisis. That's the language of a team that knows exactly what they have. Psychological insight: Red Bull is playing information warfare. They're operating with a controlled data release, showing just enough to stay under the radar while Ferrari draws all the attention. Remember, in 2022, Ferrari dominated testing. Red Bull looked lost. Verstappen won the championship by 146 points. But there's another team that's been suspiciously quiet, and they might have the most important data of all. McLaren lost half a session to repairs, yet their long-run pace tells a completely different story than their headline times. 2026 marks the arrival of 2 new manufacturers, and their first test revealed everything about their ambitions. Audi, now a full works team, showed genuine progress. 357 laps completed. Nico Hülkenberg called the development very good. Rookie Gabriel Bortoleto set a 1:33.755, just 1.7 seconds off the ultimate pace. For a team that was sober 12 months ago, running at the back of the grid, this is a transformation. Then there's Cadillac, America's return to Formula One. 266 laps in their first ever test. Team principal Gray Loden dismissed the small issues as normal for any new entry. Valtteri Bottas posted a 1:35.290, near the back, but crucially, within the 107% rule. But here's what neither team has figured out yet. There's a technical innovation hidden in the rear of one specific car that explains why the established teams are pulling away. Ferrari debuted something in Bahrain that multiple teams are already trying to copy, and the FIA is watching closely. We'll break down the radical rear design in our next video. But first, the team that might actually challenge Ferrari for the championship, and why their testing data is more impressive than it looks. McLaren enters 2026 as defending Constructors' champions, and CEO Zak Brown has already predicted they'll be in the Big Four, though perhaps not the very front. The numbers support that confidence. 395 laps completed. Oscar Piastri clocked a 1:32.861, just 0.8 seconds off Leclerc, and crucially, their long-run pace was nearly identical to Ferrari's. Yes, Lando Norris lost half of Friday to garage repairs, but the underlying car speed is clearly there. Data point: McLaren's tyre degradation over 20-lap stints was the lowest of any front-runner. That could be decisive in races where strategy matters. Meanwhile, Williams is playing catch-up, but with purpose. They managed 368 laps in Bahrain, 5th highest total. Alex Albon was brutally honest: "We're not where we want to be." But team principal James Vowles is betting on something else: the highest development rate on the grid. Williams is the dark horse. Write them off at your own risk. Haas, 404 laps, surprisingly solid reliability. Both drivers within 1.5 seconds of the pace. Alpine, successful integration of Mercedes power units, 362 laps. No major issues. Sauber's transition to Audi, smoother than expected. The factory is working. As the crates are packed for the season opened Australia, the 2026 hierarchy is beginning to solidify, but testing is the ultimate lie. Ferrari has the raw, terrifying speed. Mercedes has the endurance, but a glass jaw in reliability. Red Bull is sandbagging, and Aston Martin is fighting a technical fire that might consume their entire season. The time for talking is over. The only truth left to find is on the streets of Melbourne. Which dataset do you trust more? Ferrari's violent pace or Mercedes' relentless mileage? Is Red Bull hiding a monster, or have they finally been caught? Let us know your predictions in the comments. Make sure to subscribe